All right, let's talk about Epictetus and Stoicism. The Enchiridion of Epictetus, what a wonderful, weird, crazy book. It's a weird one, but true story, bad story, true. I don't. When my partner was about to give birth to our first child, I gave her a copy of the Enchiridion of Epictetus to read through, and she found it helpful. So I don't know. The big emphasis in Stoicism is about what you can control and what you can't control. Happiness, which is the goal of this life, happiness, is determined by how we respond to the things that we can control and how we respond to the things we can't control. The very first comment in the Enchiridion prepares us for thinking about what we can control, what we can't control. It tells us that the things under our control is basically our minds. We can decide what we want, what we pursue, what we shrink from, what we fear. The stuff that's happening in the mind is the stuff that we have the power over. The things not in our power include not only our reputation and our property, but even our very bodies. We don't have control over ourselves. We have control over our mind, not over our bodies. So how do you live the blessed life? How do you live a virtuous life? How do you live a happy life for a Stoic like Epictetus? The answer is all the same. It's a certain acquiescence to what's happening. It's an acquiescence to the way things are, a letting go, a letting be. So what happens when something bad happens? Well, Epictetus is going to tell you that it's not really the thing that's making you unhappy. It's not the bad thing, not the tragedy that's making you unhappy. Just like it's not death that worries us about ourselves. Death is not bad for us, Epictetus will tell us. It's the belief that death is bad that bothers us. It's the belief that death is near that bothers us. What makes you unhappy? What makes you unhappy is going to be the difference between your desires and the state of the world. So what do you do when you desire that your loved ones live forever or something? Well, the thing is, right, when we've got two things here that need to be matched up for our happiness, when we've got two things that need to be in sync for our happiness, that is our desires and the states of the world, to avoid our unhappiness, we need to affect what we can affect. And guess what? The Stoics, very much deterministic. We can't actually change our reputation, our bodies, our property. We can't change the world. We can change our desires. So if we are unhappy, Stoic only has one solution. Change your desires to conform to the way things are. So Epictetus tells us, ask not that events should happen as you will, but let your will be that events should happen as they do, and then you'll have peace. Epictetus is going to tell us that it's a mistake to want to be rich. It's a mistake to want your loved one not to die. It's a mistake to have these desires about the world because you cannot control those things. So when you desire those things, you are setting yourself up for unhappiness because now there's something out there in the world that has a chance to contradict your desires. This is virtue too. The path to happiness is virtue. What is virtue here? Well, the reason that the world is outside of our control is because it's in the control of the divine. God, or the gods, are the reason the world is the way it is. So what is our duty? Our duty is to submit to the will of the gods. That's what virtue is. It's an acquiescence to the way the world is. But the way the world is it is what it is because of divine providence. So it's actually a piety. It's actually a virtue to want things to be as they are. Now, as often happens, Epictetus gives us a broad path for anyone wanting to be, a decent Stoic, and a narrow path for people who want to take this really seriously. This is passage 15. Remember that you must behave in life as you would at a banquet. A dish is handed round and comes to you. Put your hand out and take it politely. It passes you. Don't stop it. It has not reached you. Don't be impatient to get it. Wait till your turn comes. Bear yourself thus towards children, towards wife, towards office, towards wealth, and one day you will be worthy to banquet with the gods. That's the general path. He goes on. All right, so I mean, the message is a good one, right? In your life, as you would at a fancy dinner party, you don't go calling out to the other hand, hey, send that down here. Hey, I haven't had enough here. No, you wait for it to come around. And when life offers you something, you have it and you enjoy it. And if it's not offering you something, you look at what it is being offered to you, right? You focus on what you have, not what you want. Make your desires conform to the way things are. But the narrow path. But if when they are set before you, you do not take them, but despise them, then you shall not only share the gods' banquet, but shall share their rule. For by so doing, Diogenes and Heraclitus and men like them were called divine and deserved the name. So for the Stoics, desire is the enemy. If we can stop ourselves desiring, we can actually become divine. Be worthy of the name divine. That's pretty severe. But don't desire, but that the world be as it is. But if you can even not desire in general, right? I don't even desire to have, a family while I have a family. I don't even desire to have cats while I have cats or whatever, right? You don't even desire those things. Then nothing will trouble you, ever. You will never be unhappy, and you will always be virtuous, defined as acquiescent to the will of the gods, as revealed in the way things are. Epicurus looks at things a little differently. There's a lot of overlap between Epicurus and the Stoics, but there's some really important differences here too. And in a way, I feel like the Stoics, they kind of ask you to be less than human in some ways, right? If your child dies, tell yourself that it's not that child in particular that you liked to kiss and love, but children in general. I feel like we're trying to make ourselves less than human, so we'll never be in despair, so we'll never be unhappy, but we're still human. Epicurus is going to tell us that the good life isn't a life of acquiescence to whatever is, happens in life, whatever life throws at you. Epicurus says that the good life for a human is a life of simple pleasures. Now, a life of simple pleasures, we're still going to work on our desires to some extent. Our desires can still be the enemy to some extent, right? If we accustom ourselves to fine wine and expensive meats with every meal, then we're opening ourselves to some serious unhappiness when those rich and expensive and unhealthy things become harder to get, or when they start having their effects on our health. Besides working on our desires, Epicurus also thinks we should work on our beliefs in some ways. There are certain beliefs that are really bothering people, including belief in the gods, including some beliefs about death, So let's take a look at these. The background here is that Epicurus is trying to help us think more carefully about some of the beliefs that can rob our peace of mind, that can rob the happy state that we can find ourselves in when we just desire a simple life with goods that are sufficient for the health of the body. If we keep things simple, we can live a good life. If we keep things in conformity with nature in a kind of way, we can live a good life. And the gods are one of the things that people bring up to bother us, to get us into an agitated state of mind and try to control us into doing things differently. Epicurus doesn't want us worrying about the gods. Epicurus wants us to moderate our desires, moderate our beliefs, and enjoy a simple life of simple pleasures. How does he say that we shouldn't worry about the gods? Well, first and foremost, the gods are actually incapable of doing anything to you, according to Epicurus. After all, the physical world, you, your body included, is made up of atoms. Don't trust atoms that make up everything, right? The physical world is made up of atoms. All the changes are changes regarding atoms, changes in the arrangement of those atoms. You can, be taken apart, right? Because you are made up of atoms, you can die, because the atoms can be dispersed. God is not made of atoms. Two things that means. One, God actually can't do anything to you. You are made of atoms, God is not. How is some non-physical thing going to affect the physical? Can't happen, Epicurus thinks. More importantly, because God is not made of atoms, God is blessed. God's not worried about death. Not being made up of atoms cannot be separated, cannot be destroyed. So, God doesn't care what you're doing. God doesn't care about you because God's immortal, because God can't be killed. So why would God be worried about what you're doing? He's just not. That's what Epicurus thinks. Epicurus also wants us to not worry about death. Now, the argument that he gives here, I don't know, it's not very convincing to a lot of people, not very convincing to me. There's a version of it, though, where he's clearly on to something here. Okay, death. When should death bother you? The answer is going to be never, right? There's only two times that he's going to entertain. There's when you're living and when you're dead. Should death bother you when you're living? Epicurus is going to say no. Why not? Because it's not there. It's not affecting you. You're alive. Why should death bother you? Why should death spoil anything for you? Why should death be harming you at all? You're alive. You're not dead. So death isn't there. So why worry about it? Okay, what about when you're dead? So when you're alive, death isn't there. So you're not worried about it. When you're dead, you're not there. So you're not worried about it, right? So the appropriate time to worry isn't when you're alive, because then death's not there. And it's not when you're dead, because then you're not there. So why worried about death? There's never an appropriate time. Now, is that a good argument? Is that really a good argument for saying that death has no effect on you? Isn't the process of not being there the thing we're afraid of? Maybe. Still, when should you be afraid of death? When it's not there? No. When it is there? No. Enjoy life while you have it. Death ends it? I don't know. I think there's something right about this. Whereas, death, sure, even if we think of death as an end of things and as harming us in some way, it doesn't really make sense to stress about it, right? All the time, he who worries suffers twice, right? All the time you spend stressing about death is time that you could be spending enjoying life. Epicurus wants us to be, I don't know, I almost go through this little checklist when I'm thinking about an Epicurean life. In fact, I think this is really a grounding thing. I've found it very grounding in my own life. It's easy to get caught up in the cares of life and miss the good times. So if Epicurus says, hey, you should be living a life of simple pleasures, right? Here's how I like to think about it. On a day, if I'm stressed or whatever, am I currently in pain? If the answer is no, we'll move on. Am I currently fearful of something imminent? I mean, if I'm not, let's move on. Am I currently mourning something, and let's say something recent, right? If I'm not in pain, and I'm not afraid, and I'm not in mourning, then these are the good times. Sure, there's an end out there, right? But if I'm not in pain, and I'm not in fear, and I'm not in mourning, then these are the good times. I need to recognize them and enjoy them for what I have. Whatever's out there causing me to worry, that might be an awful day in the future, right? Now, the Stoics, remember, the Stoics are going to say, you can never have a bad day, if you'd like, right? Just change your desires, lower your desires to what the universe is giving you, and you'll always be satisfied. You'll never have an unmet desire if you change your desires that much. I don't think Epicurus is giving us that. There will be bad days. But if today you're not in pain, and you're not in fear, and you're not in mourning, this is a good day. Enjoy it. I think that's good, helpful. Last point I want to discuss in Epicurus and the Stoics too. Why be good? Why be just? Right? We've raised this question a couple times now. We see the challenge in Republic Book 2. It's important to give an account of virtue that makes clear why it's good to be good. What about Epicurus? Epicurus says, hey, you should be good. You should follow the rules. You should be just. Because if you're not, you're going to be worried about getting caught. Is that the best we can do? I find it really disappointing, actually, that the reason to be just, the reason to follow the rules for Epicurus is just so you don't get caught. It's just so you don't get caught. If there's a rule and breaking that rule would help you get a little bit more of those simple pleasures, those pleasures that are good for you, those pleasures that are part of what makes life good, Epicurus is going to say, don't break that rule just because being worried about being found out is going to ruin your happiness. It's going to suck your happiness. But what if you could get away with it, right? What about the ring of Gyges? What if you had a ring that could make you invisible and you could get away with it? Epicurus doesn't really have anything to offer. If you can get away with it and you're 100% sure, then sure, go be bad. Go secure more pleasures for yourself. Yeah, so I wish there'd be a little bit more here. The Stoics are going to tell you, hey, be good because that's what the world demands of you. Be good because that's what the gods demand of you. Be good because there is an element here, a practical element, a teleological element. Be good because it's the only way to happiness, right? Happiness for the Stoics is the conformity of your desires to the state of the world. It's the only way to happiness. Well, for Epicurus, it's the only way to happiness too, but it's just because being bad worries you. It worries you. You might get caught. You might be judged. Someone might do that to you. So just follow the rules.